You think modern justice is harsh? The Greeks invented punishment so brutal, so creative, so absolutely eternal that they make anything we do today look like a time out. We're talking about a man chained to a rock while an eagle eats his liver every single day. A king forced to push a boulder up a mountain for eternity. A woman turned into a spider and cursed to weave forever. A guy so thirsty he's standing in water but can never drink. These aren't just punishments. They're art projects designed by gods who had infinite time, infinite power, and absolutely no chill. Today we're diving into the 5 most twisted, most creative, most psychologically devastating punishments in Greek mythology. And trust me, after hearing these, you'll never complain about a parking ticket again. Greek mythology isn't just about heroes and monsters. It's about what happens when you cross the line, when you disrespect the gods, when you think you're clever enough to outsmart immortals. The Greeks didn't believe in simple punishments. They believed in eternal consequences. You don't just get killed. You don't just go to the underworld and call it a day. No. The gods designed something special for you. Something that reflects exactly what you did wrong. Something that will torment you forever. Because to the Greeks, the worst punishment wasn't death. It was living, forever, in a state of perfect suffering. So let's meet 5 people who learned that lesson the hard way. Let's start with the big one, Prometheus. Now you might know the basic story. Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to humanity. Zeus got mad and punished him. But the details of that punishment? Absolutely horrific. Zeus didn't just kill Prometheus. He couldn't. Prometheus was a titan, immortal, unkillable. So Zeus got creative. He chained Prometheus to a rock on the side of a mountain in the Caucasus. Not with regular chains, with unbreakable chains forged by Hephaestus himself. And then, Zeus sent an eagle. Every single day this eagle would fly down, land on Prometheus's chest, and tear open his abdomen with its talons. And then it would eat his liver. Slowly, Prometheus would be awake for all of it. Fully conscious, screaming. And here's the truly twisted part. Prometheus was immortal, so his liver would regenerate overnight. Every morning, he'd wake up whole again. And every day, the eagle would return. For thousands of years. Think about that. Not a quick death, not even a slow death. Just an endless cycle of agony, healing, and agony again. Why the liver specifically? Because the Greeks believed the liver was the seat of emotion and passion. Zeus wasn't just torturing Prometheus's body, he was torturing his spirit. This went on until Hercules, eventually freed him. But by that point, Prometheus had endured millennia of daily evisceration. All because he thought humans deserved knowledge. The Greeks loved this story because it asked a question. Was Prometheus a hero or a criminal? Did he save humanity or doom us by giving us something we weren't ready for? Either way, Zeus made sure he paid for it. Forever. Next up, Sisyphus. You've probably heard of Sisyphean tasks. Pointless, endless work that never accomplishes anything. Well, here's where that phrase comes from. Sisyphus was a king, and not just any king. He was clever. Too clever. The kind of guy who thought he could outsmart the gods themselves. He cheated death. Twice. The first time, he tricked Thanatos, the personification of death, into chaining himself up. With death literally imprisoned, no one could die. The world fell into chaos. Eventually, Ares freed Thanatos because wars weren't fun anymore when no one could die. So Thanatos came for Sisyphus. But Sisyphus had a backup plan. Before he died, he told his wife not to perform the proper burial rites. When he arrived in the underworld, he complained to Hades, "My wife dishonored me. I need to go back and set things right, just for a little while." Hades, believing this was about honor, let him go. Sisyphus went back to the surface and refused to return. He lived a full, long life, laughing at death, mocking the gods. But eventually, death catches everyone, and when Sisyphus finally died for good, the gods were done with him. They designed a punishment so perfect, so cruel, that it's still the gold standard for meaningless suffering. They gave him a boulder, a massive stone, and they told him, "Push this to the top of that mountain, and you're free." So Sisyphus pushed, straining, struggling, inching the boulder up the slope, and just as he reached the top, just as freedom was within reach, the boulder would slip from his hands and roll all the way back down, and he'd have to start over, again and again and again, forever. No rest, no progress, no hope, just endless effort with no reward. The philosopher Albert Camus later wrote that we must imagine Sisyphus happy, that the struggle itself is enough. But let's be real. The Greeks didn't design this punishment to teach Sisyphus mindfulness. They designed it to break him. Because the worst torture isn't pain, it's futility, knowing that nothing you do will ever matter. Now we get to Tantalus, and his punishment is so specific, so psychologically devastating, that we still use his name today. Tantalizing. Something within reach, but impossible to grasp. So what did Tantalus do to deserve this? He committed the ultimate sin. He tried to test the gods. Tantalus was a king, favored by the gods. He was invited to dine with them on Mount Olympus, a huge honor. But Tantalus got arrogant. He thought, "Are these gods really all-knowing? Let's find out." So he did something unspeakable. He killed his own son, Pelops, butchered him, cooked him into a stew, and served him to the gods. He wanted to see if they'd notice they were eating human flesh, specifically the flesh of Tantalus's own child. The gods noticed immediately. They were horrified. They brought Pelops back to life, minus one shoulder, which one goddess had absent-mindedly eaten. They replaced it with ivory, and then they turned their attention to Tantalus. His punishment? He was sent to Tartarus, the deepest, darkest pit of the underworld, and he was placed in a pool of water under a tree full of ripe fruit. Sounds nice, right? Except Tantalus was cursed with eternal hunger and thirst. Whenever he bent down to drink, the water would recede. Whenever he reached up for fruit, the branches would lift just out of reach. Forever hungry, forever thirsty, surrounded by food and water he could never consume. The Greeks understood something profound here. Physical torture is one thing, but psychological torture, being given hope and having it ripped away constantly, is so much worse. Tantalus doesn't just suffer. He suffers while being mocked by the illusion of relief. That's not just punishment. That's cruelty as performance art. Let's talk about Ixion, because his crime is wild, and his punishment is even wilder. Ixion was a king who committed multiple crimes. First, he murdered his father-in-law by pushing him into a pit of burning coals. Normally, that kind of murder would get you ostracized from society. No one would purify you. You'd be an outcast forever. But Zeus, feeling merciful, decided to purify Ixion himself. He invited Ixion to Olympus, gave him a second chance. And how did Ixion repay this kindness? He tried to seduce Hera, Zeus's wife, the queen of the gods. Yeah, Zeus found out and decided to test Ixion. He created a cloud shaped exactly like Hera, a phantom called Nephele. Ixion, thinking it was the real Hera, slept with the cloud. Zeus caught him in the act, and Zeus was furious. Ixion's punishment He was bound to a flaming wheel that spins forever through the sky. Not just spinning, flaming, on fire, constantly. No breaks, no stops, just eternal rotation, burning, disoriented, in agony. The Greeks saw this as poetic justice. Ixion tried to spin his way out of consequences. He tried to betray the god who saved him. So now he spins forever. Literally. And because he tried to reach above his station, tried to touch a goddess, he was cast down into Tartarus, spinning endlessly in the darkness. It's dizzying just thinking about it. Our final punishment is different, because unlike the others, this one came from a goddess, not Zeus. And honestly, it might be the pettiest, most spiteful punishment on this list. Arachne was a mortal woman, a weaver, the best weaver in the world. And she knew it. She was so confident in her skill that she started bragging, "I'm better than Athena herself." Now, Athena, goddess of wisdom and crafts, heard this and thought, "Really? Let's see." She disguised herself as an old woman and visited Arachne. She warned her, "Be careful. You shouldn't insult the gods." Arachne doubled down. "I'm not insulting anyone. I'm just stating facts. If Athena wants to challenge me, bring her on." So Athena revealed herself and said, "Challenge accepted." They held a weaving contest. Both created tapestries of stunning beauty. Athena wove scenes of the gods in all their glory, majestic, powerful, divine. Arachne? She wove scenes of the gods behaving badly, Zeus's affairs, the gods' cruelty, their hypocrisy. And here's the thing, Arachne's work was perfect. Even Athena couldn't find a flaw. But instead of admitting defeat, Athena got angry. She tore Arachne's tapestry to shreds. She struck her with her shuttle. Arachne, humiliated and devastated, tried to hang herself. But Athena wouldn't let her die. Instead, she transformed Arachne into a spider and cursed her to weave for eternity. No rest, no recognition, just endless weaving, forever. It's not as physically brutal as the others, but think about the psychology. Arachne's greatest skill, her source of pride, became her eternal prison. She'll weave forever, but no one will praise her. No one will see her art. She's trapped in the thing she loved most. That's not just punishment. That's erasure. So why did the Greeks tell these stories? Because they weren't just about punishment. They were about hubris. Prometheus thought he could defy Zeus and get away with it. Sisyphus thought he could cheat death. Tantalus thought he could fool the gods. Ixion thought he could betray Zeus's hospitality. Arachne thought she could challenge a goddess. They all crossed the line, and the gods made examples of them. But here's what's really interesting. The Greeks didn't always side with the gods. Prometheus became a hero in many versions, the champion of humanity. Sisyphus became a symbol of human resilience. Arachne became a martyr for artistic integrity. These punishments were meant to terrify people into obedience, but they also revealed something uncomfortable. The gods weren't always just. They were petty, cruel, insecure, and maybe, just maybe, some of these criminals had a point. So those are the 5 worst punishments in Greek mythology. A liver eaten daily and regenerated nightly. A boulder that rolls back down every time you reach the top. Food and water forever out of reach. A flaming wheel spinning through eternity. And a woman transformed into a spider, cursed to weave forever. The Greeks understood that the cruelest punishment isn't death. It's hope without fulfillment, effort without progress, existence without meaning. These stories have lasted thousands of years because they tap into something primal, our fear of futility, of suffering that never ends, of consequences we can't escape. Next time, we're diving into the story of Medusa and why her punishment is one of the most misunderstood tragedies in all of mythology. If you want more dark mythology that'll make you rethink everything, hit subscribe. Thanks for watching. And remember, don't piss off the gods.